Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. Okay, I'd like to first call the roll call. Please signify if you are present. Commissioner Indra Deb. He should be marked absent unless he shows up. Commissioner Ed LaTurco. Here. Commissioner Rob Sheehan.
Present.
Commissioner Bill Boyven.
I am here, virtual.
All right. Commissioner Kent Moffett. Not present. Commissioner Sarah Walensky.
Here.
And for the record, the chair, Larry Cohen, is here. All right, now a few notes on the agenda. We have items number 8 and 9. They're listed on the agenda. However, they actually, at the last meeting in the second week of December, it was continued to our conservation meeting of February 9th. These are the continued public hearing for the proposed revisions to stormwater and erosion sedimentation bylaw and the continued public hearing for the proposed stormwater bylaw regulations. And one more person, Associate Commissioner Sadie Backstrom. All you have to do is say here.
Here.
Great, thanks. All right. And the record should show Kent Moffett has arrived. Okay, check him off. All right, very good. All right, so as I was saying, those continued public hearings to revise our stormwater bylaw and to revise proposed revisions to our stormwater regulations, those would be brought up at the meeting of February 9th. Okay, so the next item of business is public comment. Is there anyone here for something that's not coming up on the agenda yet? I don't see anyone online for that. Anyone here in the meeting room, something not on the agenda you'd like to mention? Okay. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes. Are we in a position to approve those minutes?
We are not, we didn't receive them.
I thought so, because I didn't see them. Okay, so we will skip now to item 4. It's a request for a certificate of compliance. It's 240 Middlesex Turnpike. It is the Burlington Equitable LP Company, DEP file number 122-535. Is there anyone here for that one?
Yes.
Yes, you're welcome to come up if you'd like. Please use the microphone and just introduce yourself and, how you're affiliated, please.
Sure. My name's Phil Hoy Jr. I'm a manager of the limited partnership that owns Burlington Equitable.
Great. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that somebody on with you? The guy who's raising?
Phil Henry may well be.
Is there anyone else for this item for the request for certificate, 240 Middlesex? I don't see anyone.
Somebody just raised their hand online, but I don't see your name. Is that Phil? I haven't met you in person before, so I'm not sure. Okay, we'll just sorry, this is Phil. I just meant, is it somebody who's with you? Sorry about that.
Perfect.
Bill, you're muted.
Hi, good evening.
Oh,
Your name is?
My name is Phil Henry with Civil Design Group. We're the engineers. I'm here to answer any questions if there are any.
okay.
All right, good. Thank you. All right, so Eileen, do you have any comments on this one?
So I'm not sure if Mr. Hoy wants to say something as well, but I'll just give the background. So you issued an order of conditions for some work at 240 Middlesex Turnpike in 2014. It was for a minor drainage project. There were some changes to a drain pipe, and it was also going to include restoration of about 4,000 square feet of impervious surface that was being used as parking lot, and conversion of that to impervious surface. So they were to plant 10 shrubs and seed with a wildflower mix. We went there, as it turns out, we only had Larry with us at site visits yesterday. The area, as you can see on the screen, it is grassed, it's doing just fine. I didn't note the specific shrubs that may have been planted, but it's been 10 years. So they're either blending in with everything that's there, or they haven't done very well. But either way, the area is doing just fine, it's stabilized. It's pretty clean. Any trash that's there is just stuff that's blown in. They're not doing any dumping back there. One thing we did note, which was just visible before which was visible on the screen, was that they still have their silt fence up and their silt sack is still in a catch basin. So I think after 10 years, those can be removed.
All right. All
So
right.
I basically, just to summarize, I don't have any issue with issuing the
Certificate.
certificate of compliance.
Okay. Let's see if any of the commissioners have anything else. Any of the commissioners have anything else here on this one? It's a request for certificate? No? No.
Nope.
All right, I guess the only thing I noticed is, the silt sack, the leftover silt fence and the silt sacks. It would take almost no time, but there is some minor trash sort of along the bank, very minor. It's not a lot, but some minor, and in the back a tiny bit, a plastic bottle and things like that. So if someone could take a sweep of that when they're picking up the silt fence.
Sure, we have somebody come by twice a week to do cleanup around the parking lot and around the perimeter of the building.
Yeah, that would be great if they just took care of that area.
Sure.
Once it's done, things get blown in over time, and it's just the way it is. Okay, does anyone else, it seems no one has anything else on this. Is there?
Can we just ask whether those shrubs were planted and whether they've just
Yes.
blended in?
I believe they were planted. You can make a good comment, it's been 10 years, so. And there's
Hard to
no irrigation on that side of the building, so.
Okay, I will note as well that there was a requirement in the order of conditions to submit just in case anybody noticed this, to submit an O&M plan. But this was such a minor project in terms of drainage, which got a little bit altered at the time. I think this may have really just been a standard condition that crept in here, and I really don't feel it's necessary, because the design changed a little bit from a swale and a pipe to just simply having the catch basin with the grass surface.
Okay.
So I just wanted to say, yes, they didn't submit one, but I think it was fine.
Bill, you're online. I want to make sure you have an opportunity to say anything. Is there anything you need to say on this one?
Well, the only thing I would say is that I'm looking at the picture. Is it actually grass? It's hard to tell from the picture. Or is it just dirt?
It's dead grass.
Well, I don't know. In the winter, it's
That's winter
I
grass.
think it was just winter.
Yeah, okay.
winter grass.
But there was grass there. Okay, good.
It's not dirt, it is
That's all.
just
The only-
brownish-looking grass.
Eileen, the only question I have on this one is there any need for any more vegetation along the bank that you saw? Did you feel like anything needed to be done to keep it vegetated, which is what it's supposed to be?
It's really only grass. It's not like it's a nice little meadow or anything. But if you're replacing any vegetation on site, I would suggest you put another shrub or two back in there. But I didn't have any issues with what's there right now.
Right. I didn't notice it being particularly bare.
No,
No,
no.
no, okay. All right, figured I'd ask. All right, so therefore, if there's nothing further, could I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for the project located at 240 Middlesex Turnpike for Burlington Equitable LP? It's DEP file number 122-535, and it's for reference of people who are not familiar where it is. It's where the Planet Fitness is located on Middlesex Turnpike, the old Middlesex Turnpike there. Second? Second. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I gotta do the roll call.
Oh, yeah.
Because Bill's online. Bill, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, Kent?
Yes.
Yes. Rob? Sarah?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. And the chair votes yes, so it's 6-0-0. It's issued, you're all set.
Thank you very much, Commission.
Can we just point out that there was a $5,000 bond However, I suspect it was probably an insurance bond, but would you mind voting to return the bond if we discovered it was actually a cash bond, which we'll check tomorrow?
I assume you'd want it back if there was a cash bond.
You assume correctly.
Okay.
Just, better to vote for it.
Is there a motion for full release of the bond, $5,000, if it is still in effect, for 240 Middlesex Turnpike?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? I can't do that. Okay, Ed, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so it's 6-0-0 for full release of the bond. You're all set, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you, Phil, online.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks a million.
Thanks, Phil,
Take care.
and both Mr. Hoy.
All right, so,
Phil and Phil, I didn't know what to call them.
Double fill.
all right, we'll skip down now to item 5A, notices given that we'll hold a public meeting, during which time a request for determination of applicability has been filed by 10 Patterson Street LLC for the demolition of an existing dwelling and construction of a new family dwelling within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands at 345 Cambridge Street in Burlington, and will thereafter issue a determination of applicability. The application is being heard under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, which is the Wetlands Protection Act, and Burlington's bylaw, Article 14. And if anyone's interested, you can write to an email, conservation@burlington.org, to get a copy of the application. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please introduce yourself and, how you're affiliated.
My name is Jonathan Langone. I am the owner at 345 Cambridge Street, also the owner of Langone Development Group. I'm the contractor that will be constructing the new development, or the new single-family home for the property.
Yes. Okay, let's go to staff. Do I have either Lucy or Eileen doing this one?
Did Jonathan want to speak first, or do you just want me to describe the project?
You can describe, that's fine. And
Okay, so Jonathan is proposing to tear down an existing small single-family house at this location and rebuild a new single-family house with a deck. He initially submitted a stormwater permit application, just assuming it was a stormwater permit, so we already had some material from him. We had this full stormwater report and plans to discharge the stormwater on site, and we pointed out that there is in fact a wetland behind, so I believe he had Norse Environmental flag the wetland, and we discovered that it's approximately 50 feet-ish from the rear of the line and at least 50 feet from any work that was going to happen on site. So we allowed this to proceed under a request for determination of applicability. He is proposing to infiltrate rooftop water using some underground chambers, and as usual, he has already planned to direct the driveway runoff into a stone trench. At this time, he isn't proposing to do any plantings on site, but I was suggesting that we might see if he would be open to putting in something, a couple of shrubs or small trees, just because it's actually it's a small site, but it's very bare. There's not a single tree on it.
correct.
And also pretty minimal grading around the property, around the building itself. That's it.
Yeah, and the site is very flat.
The site's very flat.
All right, let's go around, and I'll just ask each person. Want to start with Bill? Do you have any comments on this one?
A couple. Can we go back to the photos? Oh, yeah, I'm looking at them, okay. One question is in that upper left photo, what is that gray box sitting there on the right of the photo?
I think that was
Yeah.
Yes, that's the old fridge from that was left.
Oh.
We'll be removing that.
Okay. I thought it might have been some kind of heating thing or whatever.
Very
And the only other question I have is regarding the chain link fence. Is that at the 20-foot no disturb or near it, or?
It is
Do we-
past it is in from the 40-foot no build. It's about 50 feet.
It's inside the 40-foot, okay.
No, he.
Oh, I'm looking at the,
It's
Sorry,
in from it.
she meant in towards the house from it.
Yep.
It's about
yes, it's beyond the
It's outside the
40-foot,
40.
okay.
No
50
build
feet
zone.
away, yes.
Yeah,
It also,
Does that plan to stay?
Yes, that's actually off the property. So we will not be touching that.
Oh, okay, I didn't grasp that from the picture. Okay, got it, no problem then.
It's a very small lot.
Can I piggyback on that to ask?
Please do.
Were you planning on putting another fence in front of that?
I was
Or
not,
some shrubbery
no,
or anything like that?
Because it wouldn't really make sense to have like two fences right back to back.
Mm-hmm.
End up holding more leaves and debris than anything, so.
Okay.
Okay, all set, Bill?
Yep.
All right, let's go. Ed, anything on this one? Sarah?
No.
Rob? Kent?
Alex in order.
Sadie? No, okay. All right,
It's easy.
the only thing I thought of at the time was it planted near your property line, planting like a small tree, because obviously you don't want a big tree, probably it's fairly tight. Maybe something like a dogwood, a couple of dogwoods or something like that. Would you might be willing to do that?
I'm not against doing some type of shrubbery, I'm not exactly sure where you're looking for it on the property, because like it is actually a pretty tight lot, so.
Right.
I mean, I don't mind doing some shrubbery and maybe a small tree out front.
I was thinking only because the wetlands are out back that maybe an additional couple of things there, but,
Yeah, like maybe at either rear corner,
yeah, so.
towards the corner.
Yeah, with the fence, I mean, because there's fence all around it, so typically we don't do too many trees in the backyard. I mean, something I'm definitely willing to discuss with Eileen, and we can,
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
If that's, why don't we have him work out something, either some appropriate shrubs or something.
Okay, we wrote something into the draft, so we can, when we get to that point, we can massage that one.
All right,
Okay.
does that sound good?
yes.
Oh, okay. All right, I have nothing further. Is there anyone in the audience for this? This is a proposed new house at 345 Cambridge Street. I do not see anybody else contributing. So, as we do, we have negative conditional determination for you. It applies a few conditions, and then we'll have a motion and a vote. And if you have any questions, have you seen this?
You don't make it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just start reading through it. This is going to make it a little bigger there so it's visible. So we reference various plans and the stormwater reports, the wetland plan, the request for determination itself, and that was everything. The applicant proposed to demolish an existing residence and construct a new residence with associated deck, walkway, and driveway, to conduct earthwork, grading, and landscaping, and to install rooftop infiltrators. Some of the work was to be within the 100-foot buffer to bordering vegetated wetland. In fact, it's within the wetland on a rear adjacent property at 345 Cambridge Street, and it was flagged, but since it's off the property, we'll make no finding as to the exact boundaries of the wetland resource. But it was around 40 feet from, the closest work was around 50 feet from the BVW. The Commission is also regulating the stormwater management of this house under the stormwater bylaw. The stormwater calculations demonstrate that the post-development peak discharge rates do not exceed pre-development rates for the 2, 10, 25, and 100-year 24-hour storm, which is what you would normally require for a notice of intent anyway, and also for a single-family house. That's just the way it works out. And then we have some notes about how much impervious there was and where that's going. The Commission is voting to issue a negative determination only for work as described in this determination. Prior to beginning any construction work on site, sediment barriers shall be installed per the approved plan around the limit of work, and those should be 9-inch wattles backed with silt fence or filter socks or hay bales. We had suggested that 2 small native trees or shrubs shall be placed on site. Species and location shall be determined in consultation with conservation staff. Does that work for both Commission and for
I
John?
think that's pretty much what we said.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. Trees that fail to survive within 2 growing seasons shall be replaced. All construction or demolition debris and excavated soil should be disposed of off-site in a legal manner. Jonathan's very familiar with these. He's done He's done quite a few so far. No tracking of sediments onto public roadway shall be allowed, and keep the roadway clean if that happens. No filling or grading on the property beyond what is required for the approved work, so whatever is shown on the grading plan that we have right now. Don't dump anything into or towards the wetlands behind the fence. No invasive plant species should be planted anywhere within Burlington. Rooftop runoff shall be infiltrated on the lot and not discharged onto the roadway or adjacent lots. The applicant proposes to install a recharge system to the north of the house. No downspouts shall be directed to the driveway, and the driveway shall be pitched so that it shall be directed to a stone infiltration trench, not the street. No change in grades is permitted beyond what's shown on the approved plan, which is almost a repeat of what was already written. Any grading shall be accomplished such that work shall not direct additional runoff onto the property of others. That should not cause extra water to run onto the property of others. Pesticides, herbicides, fungicides should not be used within 100 feet of wetlands, and the rest is just explaining that staff may do periodic inspections, which you're used to.
All right. Jonathan, do you have any comments at all on this at all?
No, I read through a draft of
So
it.
you're okay with all these?
Yes, I'm okay with it.
I have one question for you. I wanted to recycle back a second. The driveway is supposed to be pitched to the trench.
Correct.
The grading, is there a note or something? I mean, like, in other words, whoever's doing the driveway, how does it get to the people constructing it? I know it's in the document, which may or may not be thoroughly read, but how does the people constructing the driveway know that it's supposed to be pitched to that? So it ends, a lot of times it doesn't exactly end up that way.
So in this case, I'm actually the excavation contractor as well.
Oh.
So I'll be doing the grading personally, so I can assure you it'll be pitched towards the trench.
That's fine, thank
I'm
you.
not sure which version of the plan you have, because there was a stormwater plan and a wetland plan, and on one of them, possibly both, there are directional arrows showing which way.
Well, there are some directional arrows, but, I mean, sometimes, on a large driveway, you do spot grades. I mean, it's someone else who's just doing a driveway, and it doesn't end up that way, but in this case,
Yeah, in this case, it will
it's the
be,
owner excavator.
yes.
Okay, all right, thanks. All right, so is there anything further on this from anyone? Bill, anything?
No, I have nothing.
All right. Hearing nothing further, could I have a motion to issue, as described, the negative conditional determination for the project at 345 Cambridge Street under Burlington Bylaw, Article 14 in the State Wetlands Protection Act?
So moved.
And a second? All in favor?
Second.
Okay, well, Ed, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Rob? Kent?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
And I vote, the chair votes yes. It passes 6-0-0.
Great.
All right,
Thank you for the great.
thank you. We'll move down to item 5B. Notice is given that the commission will hold a public meeting, during which time we have another request for determination of applicability filed by Tro Panosian for removal of 7 trees within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands at 8 Marjorie Road in Burlington. The commission will consider the information and therefore issue a determination. The application is being heard under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. And again, you can, if you want a copy of the application, you can write to conservation@burlington.org. And you're here.
Good evening.
All right, good evening. Please, like before, introduce yourself and, you know, how you're affiliated to the project, and
Tro Panosian, I live at the property, 8
Right.
Marjorie Road.
and you're welcome. If you want to do it, you can give a summary of what you're asking for if you want.
As you described, want to take down 7 trees, primarily because of safety. They keep falling down, and we have kids playing in the backyard, and my neighbor does, so just want to address that.
Okay, thank you. All right. Eileen or Lucy, what's your assessment?
Do you want to do the talking, or will I should
Sure,
just?
there are
go ahead?
6 pines and 1 maple. I think it's a maple, this guy. Definitely, we, on the site visits with Larry, agreed that they looked A couple of them look pretty spooky, and that was confirmed by CJ Martell, who would be doing the tree work. The closest one, I would say, was within 10 feet of the wetland area that is on the property. Got an overhead here. So the closest one is right here. This is the wetland. So it's right there. We would be looking to waive the no disturb, but ultimately it seems like they are unsafe. I believe we were in agreement with that, and I have no problems with that going.
All right, so you're recommending that they all should be removed?
Yes, there was some discussion, and I believe we'll go over the decision about leaving snags and stumps, but they can come down as trees.
All right, thank you. Bill, this is removal of trees at 8 Marjorie. Any questions or comments?
No, I read the arborist comments, and he seemed like he agreed that they were hazardous and or diseased. The pictures I'm looking at, the one of that maple, looks like the bark is peeling off and stuff, so I wasn't there, but I'll take the assessment that it seems to be fair to cut them.
All right, thank you. Ed? Okay. Sarah, anything on this one?
No.
Rob?
So, well, I think in the, there was one document that was sort of like, and any other additional trees, but we're just saying specifically for, like, of these 7 sort of marked?
What are you referring to?
I-
Which document now?
I think it was an email from the
It was
tree
from the
company.
arborist, or was it from CJ?
Yeah. So, but we're just saying, like, be specifically.
We will only, you are only approving the removal of the 7 marked trees that we observed on the property.
Okay.
They were all marked with an orange tag.
Oh, okay. Yep, so they're all marked.
And 2 were most definitely dead, a couple of the others were in bad shape, and one had a distinct lean.
Yep, okay,
We're not leaving it open-ended.
yep, okay.
Kent, anything on this one?
Bill sent the email from the tree.
Got it. Sadie, anything on this?
I guess I'm just wondering if these were to come down, is there any worry about erosion into the wetland, if like, or like wanting to put
No,
anything else?
that is a very good question. Do you mean even during the process of taking them down?
I guess both, like, I guess I'm thinking like long-term, if there was 7 trees that weren't there anymore, would there be erosion then?
Okay, so what we're proposing here and what we would typically propose to do in something like this is, as Lucy, sorry, do you mind if I speak?
Oh, go
As Lucy described, 2 of them are really, really, really close to the wetland. We would definitely prefer that at least the stumps and possibly snags of those ones, that's like a 10 or 12 foot part of the tree, be left. And that way you're not dragging out the stump really, really close to the wetland, because those 2 are really, really close. The ones behind, I'm open to, what the commission has to say, but they would be taken out with a crane situated kind of far back in the lawn, and either by crane, sort of scooping them up, or, by hand, partially sawed by hand, and then hopefully planting a few trees in that in that area that you're talking about as being potentially now unstable. We would suggest either stabilizing that or replanting there. But those are good questions about how the process happens. It's fair.
I actually have a similar comment. Do we need to specify anything so this gentleman's lawn doesn't get all chewed up by the crane and all that? Because if the yard is soft or anything, it's going to get pretty well chewed up.
Yeah, I specifically asked Martel to come when it's cold, very, very cold.
Right.
So that's what they intend to do.
Yeah, and so I assume you told them if it's not cold, don't do it.
No, I would not let them on my lawn if it's not
Got it.
pretty hard.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
Very good thinking.
Hey.
Yeah, because if you have a boom truck coming in, usually like on your driveway, because I've had it done in mine when we did our pool, if it goes over the house.
Yeah, that's what
But
I was gonna say.
but if the boom truck is like basically like, it's pretty large, but if to Larry's point, if it's like, they can't get, depending on how far back,
In the town, so
like,
see,
it's,
closer to
that
the
size of those things, like if it's on their lawn, like that's,
Yeah, they plan to put their crane right there on the left. Where do you see a tree? Right there. They're going to operate from that area.
okay.
All right, so they're not going to be in the wetlands area.
No, they're not going further out.
If our draft does not say that, we do need to just mention that, just to be super clear.
Okay. I have one other thing I wanted to speak to you about. The commission is responsible for overseeing, maintaining the health of wetlands, because they offer a variety of benefits, which I won't go into. But with removing the trees and the fact that your yard is completely devoid of any trees on the west side, where from noon to sunset, you get the hot sun directly on the wetlands. Wetlands thrive in the shade. So I was thinking that maybe we could get you to agree to plant some type of, at least a modest couple of trees there to help provide some shade because of the way your yard is situated. Basically, if the wetlands dry out, it basically doesn't survive and doesn't function as it's supposed to.
Which area are you referring to?
I'm referring to the area of that wetland that's right adjacent to your yard,
In the
to the,
back?
to the mowed area.
Where Lucy's putting the little thing right now, he's suggesting that you put a couple of trees right in front of the wetland to provide some shading. That's what he
I
means.
see. I'm
And
not opposed to that, actually.
so if we put that in the decision, you'd agree to that?
I believe there was a decision in there for 3
It
trees.
does say that. It says
It's in
species and
there.
location shall
Okay.
be determined.
Oh, okay, I haven't,
I'm fine with that.
yeah, but that's great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Larry, I have a question.
Yes, Bill?
Looking at that picture, is it being mowed right up to the wetland?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
So
Well, it should not
by
be.
putting a couple of trees in front of it, it would effectively provide a little bit of a no disturb.
Offer.
Yes.
Correct. Because normally we have 20 foot in front of it that should not be mowed. And, I don't want to take all that away from you with this situation, but a few trees in there and don't mow past the trees would be a reasonable compromise.
Okay.
And in fact, if you were to allow some small distance beyond the trees to kind of like revegetate naturally without mowing right up to that edge, that would be really beneficial because the uplands and the wetland function interactively, and it's really a benefit to the health of the wetland. Okay?
Makes sense.
All right, great, thank you. So is there anyone in the audience has any further comments for 8 Marjorie Road? Okay, could we go over the decision and see if there's anything
Yep, I'm just
to discuss?
trying to add something in there. Okay. As before, this time our plan of reference was aerial imagery and the note from CJ Martel about the trees. The applicant proposed to cut 7 trees at 8 Marjorie Road in the buffer to bordering vegetated wetlands. The wetland resource areas were not delineated, so the commission is making no finding as to the exact boundaries. The closest tree is approximately 10 feet or less. It may really, the wetland might extend right all the way to that tree. From the BBW, a landscaping professional provided a letter expressing concern regarding the poor health and proximity of the pines to the house. The commission is going to have to waive the 20-foot no disturb setback in this instance. So this decision will be only for the removal of trees as described. The applicant may proceed with 7 tree removals. Removal of any other trees will require additional approval from the commission or conservation administrator and may require submission of a written assessment by a certified arborist that they pose a hazard or are in significant decline. For tree trimmings or removals that are not feasible to do by hand, machinery such as a bucket truck or crane shall be located in the driveway or existing lawn areas, basically where CJ already said he would propose to put it, or the driveway. 3 native non-cultivar trees shall be planted on site as replacements for the vegetation removed. What I'm proposing that we alter the next sentences to would be, species shall be determined in consultation with conservation staff. Trees shall be planted in front of the wetland to provide,
Shading.
shading and a no disturb buffer. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
For 3, because like somebody mentioned about like on the plan, it noted where like if it wasn't gonna be in the driveway, potentially, would you essentially say as noted on the plan? Like you're saying for the where the crane's gonna be if they don't put it in the driveway? Like where it's gonna be, do you need to go that specific?
Well, there was a plan, oh, sorry, are you saying or as marked on the plan?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay, that, we could do that. Where were we? Or
That's
in
3.
existing, or in the lawn area specified in the plan.
Yep.
That's fine. That's actually, that's a good, everybody agree?
Yes.
Got it. I'll fix the spellings tomorrow. Trees that fail to survive within 2 growing seasons shall be replaced. The 2 pines closest to the wetland shall be cut so that a snag or a portion of the trunk remains. This is the part that we should maybe just discuss. The stumps of the trees within the wooded area shall not be removed without selective approval from the Commission or Conservation Administrator. Are you okay with that, or would you prefer to just make a decision now about those stumps? The applicant is encouraged to leave snags where feasible for wildlife habitat, but the tree beside the shed may be removed completely. I guess that's, yeah, 2 trees.
So leaving some stumps back there, are you okay with that? Or-
I don't plan on grinding them, actually, the ones in the back.
Yeah?
I have no intentions of.
Oh, so that's not an issue?
No.
It also,
That-
it also gets expensive.
covers Sadie's concern because there won't be.
That and that, yeah, they can stay there.
In that case, we'll leave it exactly as is, okay?
With snacks.
Sorry, what? Well, we can still say he's encouraged to leave snags where feasible. So it's either going to be stumps or snags.
Oh, I mean the close one.
Oh, well, that already says that.
Oh, great.
Debris, sediment, lawn clippings, and landscape materials should not be dumped in the vegetated wetlands. Keep them clear. Pesticides, herbicides, fungicides should not be used within the wetlands or within 100 feet of the wetlands. And members of the commission or staff may just pop out when the removal is occurring or when the planting is occurring, just to check on things.
All right, Bill, any comments on these conditions?
No.
All right, Sadie, anything on it? No. Kent? Rob? No. Sarah?
No.
Ed? I have nothing further. Okay, how about you? Are you all set with this, sir?
I am. One last question. Should Martel notify you before they come to do the job, or?
That would be good, because otherwise we're going to get calls from your neighbors anyway. Probably. So yes, it would be.
I'll ask CJ to do.
Thank you.
I would like to talk a moment about number 2 on the conditions.
Sorry.
The applicant may proceed with 7 tree removals. Removal of any other trees will require the additional approval from the Commission or Conservation Administrator and may require the submission of a written assessment by a certified arborist. Just FYI, I am not sure that CJ is a certified arborist. He may or may not be, I'm not sure. But I don't know. But if you were going to do additional, per se, well, he's there, I'd like him to do X, Y, and Z, what that says is we may ask for a certified arborist to say that about the health of the tree or whatever.
Okay.
Just wanted to point that out just in case.
I don't plan on adding any more work to his agenda.
I get it. All right.
Yeah, but wasn't the letter also, to point that out, the letter in this, where it says other findings, a certified arborist provided a letter expressing interest. So we're saying that in the letter, that's from Martel, but we don't know if that's a certified arborist.
I don't personally know.
No, I know, I'm just saying, like, we're stating that in that basically should not be probably done.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think what I read out, I think, had I changed it afterwards?
Oh, you must have, yeah.
It now says a landscaping profession
Oh, okay.
provided a
All
letter,
right.
because we had the same thought earlier. We said, you know what, we're not sure he is, and let's not claim that he is.
Yeah, I mean, I've dealt enough tree companies over the
Yeah.
years, and to Larry's point, I mean, that's a valid point, that they're gonna, whether, even if it's a certified arborist, don't take the comment, but a certified arborist, even working for a tree company, is gonna, tree company first before they,
Right, that's why we do prefer something from a
Yep.
certified arborist. In this particular instance, we have visited, some of the trees were definitely in poor
Oh, yeah,
shape.
I agree.
They were in very,
not great.
they were in very poor shape.
So it wasn't a situation where we were saying, what's wrong with these? Some guy just wants to take them down. It wasn't that.
One other point.
Go down.
Eileen, one other point. There's a tree leaning. Are you going to ask him to kind of get it down, cut it, and let it drop or something?
If you allow me to do that, I will.
I think I may have said that to you in writing before, but, or maybe it was just verbally, that you can chop it while if you without removing everything, but you can chop it.
Just
so
lay
that
it
doesn't-
down?
Yeah.
They can't take that with them if they want it?
Well, they
Since
could,
it's
I
fallen?
suppose.
I guess they could take it if,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, the issue is it's potentially a hazard if it.
It is a hazard.
If it let it go, so I thought you might want to address it.
Do I need to?
So it's okay for me to have him just take it away? Okay.
Yes.
Unless the commission objects. They don't object.
I was going to ask,
Was there
but you brought it up.
I don't believe I,
All right, could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for the tree removal project at 8 Marjorie Road under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 and the State Wetlands Protection Act?
They have to vote the
What?
20-foot.
That you will also have to vote the 20-foot waiver,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
He wasn't going to forget.
I was going to forget. All right, so let's do that first. Could I have a motion, because of the site-specific circumstance, to waive the 20-foot no disturb requirement for the removal of these trees?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Oh, Ed? Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. The 20-foot no disturb requirement in our regulations is waived. Could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for the tree removal project at 8 Marjorie Road under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 and State Wetlands Protection Act?
So moved.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Ed? Yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent? And Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, 600. Project's approved.
Thank you.
All right, have a good evening. Thanks for coming.
Have a good evening.
Notice is given that the commission will hold a public meeting, during which time we have another request for determination filed by the town of Burlington for proposed parking spaces and walkway within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands and in bordering lands subject to flooding. It's located at the old water treatment plant, which is located at 171 Middlesex Turnpike. We will thereafter issue a determination. The application's being heard pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14. And again, you can write to conservation@burlington.org for a copy of the application. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening.
Please introduce yourselves, and even though most of us know who you folks are, you might want to state who you are.
Thank you. Paul Sagarino, Town Administrator. We have Chief of Police Tom Brown, and we have our project team is in the virtual meeting for any questions.
That's great. You got the whole team here, huh? All right. Would you folks, either the people online or you folks here, would you like to summarize what you're proposing? It's up to you if you'd like.
We'll give a brief summary. Who's that?
This is Eric from KBA. I could give a quick summary.
Sure, I just want to let the commission know that the reason for this is the intention is to use the old water treatment plant as a temporary police station while we're building the new police station. And this request refers to temporary parking areas in that area. And at that point, our project team can take over.
Please.
So my name's Eric Royce. I'm with Castle Booze Associates. We also have Megan Collins from Castle Booze and Kevin Witzel here from Castle Booze. But as was stated, this is a temporary condition where the police are going to move into this space. And we're looking to basically remove the topsoil and install 3/4-inch stone to provide parking areas for the police for the temporary condition. After the police are done with it, they're going to be in there probably about 18 months, but after they're done with it, the gravel will be removed and topsoil will be put back and it will be restored back to its original condition. We're not proposing any additional fill. Everything that I'm talking about as far as the stone will be installed to the grade of the existing topsoil. And there's no other trenching or utilities or anything else proposed for the site. It's pretty much just getting that gravel in so they have a clean place to park during the temporary condition. I could go on further if you'd like or answer any questions. I know Eileen's prepared a draft decision, so I'll let you get at it with that in the interest of time.
All right, thanks. Eileen, do you have some comments?
Well, so as Eric described, I pulled up the plan just so while he was speaking so that you could see what he was talking about. What he meant was these areas up here, oh, my mouse is running slower than molasses. These parking areas are helping. Okay, Lucy's adding it, so Lucy can point. These are the parking areas. At the moment, they are either fairly bare or else they're grass, and they're proposing to just, as he explained, dig down a little bit, add some fabric, add some gravel, and bring them back up to the exact same grade. Why this is an issue is because this is bordering land subject to flooding. Under the preliminary FEMA maps, almost the entire site is considered bordering land subject to flooding. Even before that, this was originally based on older flood maps from the 90s. There was still quite a bit of, based on the actual elevations that were out there, there was still quite a bit of floodplain as is. The applicants worked with me to identify that the floodplain is now at 126.5, and that's what's shown on the green. That green blob is everything that's actually above the floodplain. So it's also very close to bordering vegetated wetlands. There are some little red measurement markers that you can see there. So those parking spaces are actually going to be quite close to the wetland as is. This is an existing site. This has been a working water treatment plant for 20-something years now, 26 or 7 years now. So this is not a pristine site. There was already some work fairly close to wetlands. This will bring the parking a little bit closer to wetlands, but it is gravel. It is generally pretty impervious, and they have assured us they're endeavoring. They're undertaking to match the grades exactly with what is there at the moment. So there will be no, or as it says in the draft decision, de minimis filling of the floodplain. So I have provided at the end of the project, it is either restored and grassed. If it's going to be used, if it's not going to be used for continuous parking, it should either be restored, and if it is going to be used as parking, that's actually fine too, just leave it as is. So with those provisos, I have no issue with this going ahead as described.
All right, Ed, anything on this one? All right, Sarah?
I don't think this is anything we can act on, but I just noticed when I was walking on the site recently, there are what appear to be big nests of some kind of super large bird, maybe herons, in the trees on the site. So it seems like an environmentally interesting area. But I mean, you gotta have a swing site somewhere, so.
All right, okay, Rob, anything on this one?
I think it's a good reuse of like existing property. I know the town worked really hard to try to find a site for the police station. I was just wondering, on the parking spaces on the left side, it looks, the lower ones, it looks like they're either locked in or it looks on the, from pictures, it looks like there's a really large pile of dirt
Yes.
near there as well. So I was just wondering, it seems like, I know in the floodplain where, you know, the elevation is really important, but on the other hand, there's a very large sort of dirt pile there. So I was just wondering if, it seems like if it is parking, those parking spots, like someone, it does say the personal vehicles, so I don't know if someone would get stuck in there, or if there's any plans on just sort of moving that strange pile?
I am pretty much assuming they're going to be removing that pile in order to make this a functional police station, but chief or somebody else can
that's the dirt pile.
Well, I'll let the project team answer that. I would assume that that's what's going to happen, but I don't want to assume.
Chief, if I'm not mistaken, is that the secure parking area for the cruisers and officers' personal vehicles? I believe.
Yes, so all around the back will be secured parking. Yes.
All right.
Eric, do we have just an answer on the piles that are there at the moment?
So where the piles are conflicting with the parking spaces, yes, those will get removed. But as you note, there's kind of stacked parking on that left-hand side also. That's because some of the vehicles, like the patrol vehicles and some of the unmarked vehicles, those are stacked. They're not used every day, or they're cycled in and out of operation. So we're stacking those. There's not going to be another aisle for access, page bottom to those stacked spaces, if you understand that.
Thank you. All right, Rob? Kent, Sadie, anything? Bill, anything on the water treatment plant proposal? Can't hear you, Bill. Is
Bill still online?
is he muted? No, his picture is there.
Well, Larry, why don't you say if you have some, we'll come back to him in a minute.
All right. My only question is in terms of restoration, normally in a situation like this, we have a wetland. Then as we back up from it, we have some flat semi-grass area, and then we're going to have the spaces. So when you put the soil back and you're going to revegetate, oftentimes we like to, if possible, create a little bit of a buffer zone. Normally we have a 20-foot, but we don't always kind of get that when there's nothing. But I'm wondering if we could, the area that's flat adjacent to the wetlands, if we could get like some kind of a seed mix and just let it go natural. I'm not trying to stop anything further that might happen, because I understand this building is probably too valuable to not use at some point.
It's in very good shape. I'm not sure what a future reuse of it may be, but I do believe it will have some type of reuse in the future.
Right.
It's been very well
So I'm not trying to preclude that by doing this, but I'm just wondering, it would be a benefit to the wetlands to have a naturally vegetative area that is not maintained as grass, because it works interactively with the wetlands. And
Can I clarify, Larry? Do you mean?
Sure.
Because you said when it's restored. So do you mean after the police station is?
yeah, when they rip up they're thinking of ripping up the stone, I'm wondering if, or alternatively, do we want some modest-sized trees, a couple put in there, or, I mean, I'm not really sure, to be honest.
You mean, but again, you mean after this use, do you?
All after the 18 months has gone by and all that.
I would suggest that this is a temporary use, and whatever comes in here in the future will have to come back before you, presumably. We could certainly seed, it's pennies on the dollar, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future with this property.
Sure.
And I would argue that you're going to have another bite at the apple here to get things done right in the end use of this
What
property.
I'm thinking is, if you're putting down loam, you're going to throw seed down. If we put sort of a natural seed mix to let it revegetate it a little bit of distance from the wetlands, it benefits the wetlands, that's all I'm saying.
Understood, that's certainly doable.
Are you folks okay with that?
Not opposed at all.
Okay, all right.
Not opposed.
That's great, thank
That's a good point. I mean, once it comes back, you're gonna have to, like, the guy's point there, it's gonna have to come back for a conservation, whatever they decide to do with it, it's gonna have to go back before.
Well, the project authorizes them to restore it after they pull up the gravel, so I'm not sure they'll be coming back.
As Mr. Sagarino and others have pointed out, we have a fairly limited supply of available land here in town for municipal use. This is probably going to be reused again in the future. I think that's sort of what Eric is alluding to, that there will be another opportunity for the next use to maybe make a few iterative improvements as we go along.
I mean, fine, I think if they can throw down some seed mix.
Definitely.
For a few feet back from it, it would help, it would be helpful, that's all. And just let it, don't maintain it, let it go, after you water it a few times.
Certainly.
Okay, who's, someone else want to talk about this?
I'm back.
What?
Can you hear me?
Oh.
I say I'm back. I pushed the wrong button and disappeared.
All right, well, welcome back, Bill, from wherever you were.
I had one question. Is there going to be any maintenance of any kind done on vehicles on this site, oil changes or anything like that?
No.
No, sir, we do Bill, we do all that at the new DPW garage.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
I apologize, I have to drop, but Megan's going to take over for me. With Zoom, I'm double booked for Concom meetings tonight, so Megan will take care. You're in good hands.
Well, I'm glad we had you first.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
You too. All right, so if there's no one else has anything to say on this, for the water treatment plant modifications, the gravel, the parking lot modifications, we have a draft decision.
Okay, well, I'll go through this one. And anybody can chime in if you have some issues. So the plan references include the narrative, the original site plan, and the swing space site plan, which had the illustration of the proposal and the overlay of the flood zone on it, and that was stamped by one of the gentlemen who was just speaking, in fact. The applicant proposed to convert the existing water treatment plant into a temporary space for the police department. Site work included the temporary installation of gravel surfacing for parking and walkways. No change in grade or layout, and no clearing, drainage, or trenching is proposed. The work was located within bordering land subject to flooding. That's the FEMA 100-year flood plain of Vinebrook and a tributary of Vinebrook, and the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland. Work will also occur within the Zone 2 of a public water supply, which is considered a critical area. Wetland resource areas were not delineated for this project, but referenced a wetland line approved for the construction of the treatment plant. And it's very visible when we're out there. The wetland's very, very visible. The BLSF line was based on the flood profiles published for Vinebrook and Tributary B to Vinebrook by FEMA in its preliminary study dated June 8th, 2023. And just to update everybody, we actually just, maybe today or within the last day or two, did receive a letter from FEMA about finalizing those preliminary floodplain maps. The Commission finds any changes to BLSF would be, that's supposed to say de minimis, I'm sorry, it says de minimis, no change in grade, and that the work will not cause an increase in, nor will contribute incrementally to an increase in the horizontal extent and level of floodwaters during peak flows. The Commission is voting to waive the 20-foot no disturb setback. This decision is work only as described in the plans we just discussed and as discussed tonight. Prior to any construction on site, sediment barriers shall be installed and inspected by conservation staff. They will be installed per the plans that were also approved. All excavated material shall be disposed of off-site in a legal manner, and excavated soil not used for backfill should not be used on site. No materials shall be stockpiled within BLSF, and any stockpiles shall be covered and encircled with hay bales at locations more than 50 feet from the DPW, or as approved by the Conservation Department, because we do understand that this is a tight site, so we'll work with you on that. The applicant will be responsible for ensuring that stockpiled materials do not erode from the limits of the pile or intrude into the resource areas or associated buffer zones. There should be no filling or grading of the property under this decision. The floodplain compensation area specifically that was designed for the construction of the treatment plant in 1997 shall also not be altered. Landscaping and miscellaneous material that is cleared from the site. So we could see some in the photographs earlier that Lucy was showing. Any of that material that's cleared from the site shall not be dumped in the wetlands surrounding the building. No tracking of sediments onto public roadways shall be allowed, and keep the roadway clean. No trees within the 100-foot buffer or BLSF shall be removed under this determination. No dewatering shall be permitted on site without receiving and approving a dewatering plan, which addresses potential issues of contamination. If at the end of this project, this was the highlighted, I had left this highlighted because I thought we might need to discuss it, and we did earlier. The additional parking, if they're not needed, the soil shall be replaced to match the current grades.
And we should say maybe 5 to 10 feet back from the wetlands should be left to revegetate as a natural buffer.
So the additional parking spaces plus,
I mean, there is a
5
distance
feet.
between where the parking space is and the wetland. So, I mean, 5 to 10 feet, if you stated that
5
range
feet
would
towards the
cover it.
BVW are not needed. The soil shall be replaced and seeded with a wetland mix. How does that work for you rather than just grass?
Yeah, I mean, something that basically, and left to naturally vegetate.
Which is still, it's, we're not adding anything expensive in here. This is just a different seed. Sorry, I'll fix the typing tomorrow. Then the rest is just members of the Conservation Commission or staff may enter on site to just perform occasional inspections.
All right. Bill, any comments on the conditions?
No.
Any commissioners present have comments on the conditions? No? How about you folks? You okay with what you heard?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for the parking lot project at the former water treatment plant, 171 Middlesex Turnpike, for Burlington Bylaw Article 14 and the State Wetlands Protection Act? Second? All right, Ed, how do you vote? And Sarah?
Yes.
And Rob?
Yes.
And Kent? And Bill?
Yes.
And I vote yes, 6-0-0.
Thank you
You're all
very
set.
much. I'd also like to thank Eileen and Lucy for all their assistance in navigating the process, so thank you.
You got it.
Thank you all.
Of course. Good to see you, folks.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Hey, Eileen, you have to vote the 20 no?
Oh, yes, that's a good point. We forgot the 20-foot no disturb again.
Okay, so
Thank
we'll-
you, Kent. You're on the ball tonight.
Could I have a motion to waive the 20-foot no disturb requirement for this project, given the site-specific circumstance?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Okay, Ed, how do you vote? Yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Kent? Rob?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
And I vote yes, 6-0-0. Okay, so the next item on this agenda appears to be a continued public hearing for 38 Freeport Drive for the 38 Freeport Drive LLC Company. It's to demolish an existing dwelling and construct a new one. It has a DEP file number 122-712.
Hello.
Good evening. Please introduce yourself, how you're affiliated, and anything else you would like to summarize.
Sure. So this is the second time back here. I'm Tyler Lewis. I'm the owner of 38 Freeport LLC and also the contractor who will be doing the work.
All right. Okay. Eileen or Lucy, would you like to bring us up to speed from 4 weeks ago?
Let's see. So DEP had a couple of comments, and they, I think, were all resolved. One of them may have just been a misunderstanding about the address, possibly. They thought it was BLSF. There is definitely not bordering land subject to flooding on this particular property.
Right.
What else did DEP say? But it was resolved. I wrote it down here, sorry. Oh, the area of it, that was it. There was some, they also had some issues, which I think were already addressed by the time we did the first meeting. There was just some numbering of impacts in the riverfront area, which Steve had already fixed because he and I had discussed it. Then he made some slight updates to the plan. He didn't put all the trees on, which we had talked about, but Tyler does not intend to take down any trees. He did put on the fact that they're attempting to move that tree that's in the front, but I think the only change that we need to discuss for tonight is that Tyler would now like to also remove the shed that's in the backyard, but he is open to planting 2 native trees.
Okay. All right.
Oh, but we have no issues with the rest of this project as
All right.
now.
Good. Thank you, Eileen. Ed, you have anything more on 38 Freeport? No. Sarah?
No.
Rob? Kent? Sadie? Bill?
No.
All right. How is the runoff off the driveway being handled?
So we do have a stone trench along the side.
Okay, does the plan show that?
Yep.
It does, yes.
Oh, it's so small I couldn't see it, sorry.
It's highlighted in red.
What?
It's red, it's a red trench. That's what we're expecting to see when we go out there.
Yeah, it needs to be red, I'll paint it.
So how does this driveway get, looks like there are some contours. How does the driveway get constructed like that? In other words, so that it actually goes into the trench? A lot of times it never ends up that way, and
So it's all about the grading, and seeing as I am on the site, I'll be able to direct them.
so you're personally supervising?
Yes.
And be able to tell them, and you've heard this discussion, so you know.
I was prepared for that from the first one earlier, so yes, I'm going to be there. I'll certainly communicate that, but yeah, once you grade it that way, the water will
Yeah,
run
oh, I
off.
understand. The problem is sometimes the grade.
It doesn't actually.
It doesn't actually end up that way. And there's a nice trench there, but it's not being used.
No.
Okay. Bill, did I call on you?
I have no comments.
Okay. Interrupt if I forget to call on you, please.
I will.
Thank you. All right. This is a hearing. I have to ask, is there anyone else in the audience, either here or online, for 38 Freeport? Hearing none, I guess we'll review the draft documents. For our notice of intent, we have a set of findings, and then under the bylaw, and then we have, the actual permit conditions, and we'll review it, and if you have any comments.
Sounds good.
Okay, we'll start with the bylaw if you don't. Okay, Lucy's just pulling it up. She's going to share.
Yep.
But it's weirdly tiny on my screen.
You can see it on your screen too.
I can, of course I can. Right, sorry. Okay, so let me see. In this case, okay, now I can't zoom back up again. The reference plan is it's designed by Steve Dresser, and it was updated this week. So a notice of intent and bylaw application was filed for the demolition of existing dwelling and shed and construction of a new single-family dwelling within the riverfront area of Sawmill Brook. The project also included installing an infiltration system, grading around the house, and planting of 2 red maples within the riverfront area. I think that's what Steve said you're open to. The next part is filing history, which just describes all the dates. So we'll just zoom down a little bit. And we'll go down some more. We'll just go down to wetland areas. Oh, sorry, stop, up again. The proposed work with the wetland values and areas subject to protection. Proposed work would be within the riverfront area of Sawmill Brook with a total alteration of 4,900 square feet. So they're staying under the 5,000 square foot magic number. The closest point of the proposed new dwelling would be approximately 143 feet from the stream bank in BVW. 2 native trees would be planted in the outer riparian. If we scroll down a bit further, this describes the stormwater management. It's exempt from the mass stormwater management regulations. However, as with every project that comes in front of us, there is a requirement. They must adhere to the wetlands bylaw regulations, which include performance standards for buffer zone. The impervious area will be increased, and a lot of the rooftop runoff will go into 12 ADS storm tech chambers with a fairly significant storage capacity, and the new driveway will go into 2 foot wide by 2 feet deep stone trench on the south side of the driveway. Erosion controls will be implemented during construction, minimizing any impact to resource areas. The bylaw regulations require improvements to the riverfront area when redeveloping in the RFA, and the applicant enhanced the riverfront by planting the 2 trees in the rear yard. If you scroll down a bit further, I think we are proposing a bond in the order of probably $3,500, because that's our typical for a single-family house.
Just go slowly. Here we are.
3,500 indeed. So if you switch over to the order, we'll just run through that.
Do it. Ooh.
Yep. So again, we're going through the various plans that were submitted. With this one, I tend to kind of just jump through them because there's a lot in an order of conditions, and nobody needs me to read out 47 conditions. So we'll just kind of just jump through them and highlight some. The order is permitting work.
I assume this gentleman has received a copy?
He has seen the draft, so we're not reading every word. The order permits work within the 200-foot riverfront of Sawmill Brook, and no work within any resource area has been permitted by this decision. The next few conditions are standard, and then the construction conditions describe how you will install your erosion controls. You will, mark out where everything is going in site. You'll give us a call to come and make sure your DEP sign is in place and that everybody understands what's happening. If you scroll down a bit further again, we will also see at that time you'll also need to show that you have recorded your order of conditions in the Registry of Deeds. So go down a bit further, please, Lucy, to the next batch.
This batch?
Right, so all of the, generally, what are these again? You haven't got
Erosion control conditions?
No, we've already done those.
Oh.
Well, it's probably exactly, the filling and grading conditions. So this is just saying that you must adhere to the plans as approved. No grading is allowed that is going to cause any erosion towards your neighbors or any excess of water towards your neighbors. All of these ones are standard, which means just don't let anything enter the waterway, don't let any dumping happen, and fuel, anything like that can't come off your site. If you scroll a bit further to the next batch, it's the stormwater management and the riverfront area restoration. So as we described, he's going to use 12 storm tech units. And it doesn't say here, but all the contractors know to just send us photographs as they go along so that we know that they were installed as designed and where we expect them to go. No removal of trees is permitted by this decision, and 2 native trees with a minimum of 2-inch caliper shall be planted on site within the riverfront area. They shall be monitored for 2 full growing seasons, and anything that fails to it was gone, so
Sorry,
just doing this
making
from
it up.
memory. Anything that fails to survive shall be replaced. And that is a perpetual condition.
Did you want to make a note about the movement of the tree, or is that outside of the riparian zone?
We could. Do you want to? I mean, where?
You mean the tree that he is, this massive tree that he's going to dig up and move?
Try to move, yeah.
Well, you have the word there? So why don't you say, where it says 2 native trees shall be planted, Lucy's going to add a line, or one of us will just to say, the applicant will also move the, what is it, Japanese maple? What is it? The Japanese maple, the adult, mature Japanese maple, about whatever it is, 20 feet off site?
Yeah, 15, 20 feet.
Some number of feet, and this shall also be monitored, something.
I do just want to make sure, I'm going to do my best to keep this thing alive, so I just want.
No,
We hadn't put it in there because we're all
Yeah,
just
what's gonna
hopeful on this one.
I think we understood that you really want to keep it alive.
Yeah.
I mean, it was clear that you wanted to do that.
Moving it like 10, 15 feet?
Yes, he's moving it 15 to 20 feet. Sorry, I just actually opened it myself because, and then the last portion is just describing how you go about requesting your certificate of compliance. You'll need the as-built and application forms.
Okay, Bill, any comments?
Yeah, just one. I wanted to make sure that my comments on the riverfront alternatives analysis were addressed.
I think Lucy, whatever the word is, sent around, he did a more robust, Steve he did a more robust, thank you for bringing that up, Bill, because I forgot to mention it, alternatives analysis, which did look at them doing nothing, them doing, I think, possibly in addition, or them rebuilding, which is ultimately the option that they went with. But I think it was a reasonable alternatives analysis for a riverfront area for a single-family house. I'm fine.
Oh, yeah, it was just that they had made a misstatement in the, they said the first two were less environmentally sound, and then he went on to say the third one was also less environmentally sound, and that isn't what he intended, I'm sure.
He fixed that. So thanks for pointing that He fixed that immediately, and thanks for reminding us, because that's a good point. He was asked, they were asked to do that, and they did.
Great. That's all I have.
On my right, Ed and Sarah, any comments on the conditions? On my left, Rob, Kent, Sadie, any comments? No. All right, I have nothing further either, so I guess, is there any further comment from anyone? No one in the audience, okay.
No waivers required this time.
Right. Could I have a motion to close the hearing for 38 Freeport Drive, DEP file number 122-712? Is there a motion? Second?
Second.
Okay, Ed, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. The hearing is now closed. Could I have a motion to adopt the findings for 38 Freeport Drive, DEP file number 122-712, under Burlington Bylaw, Article 14? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, Ed?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. The findings are approved, 600. Could I have a motion to approve the order of conditions for DEP file number 122-712 for 38 Freeport Drive under Burlington Bylaw, Article 14, and the State Wetlands Protection Act?
So moved.
Second? Ed? Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
And I vote yes, 600. The order of conditions are approved by that vote. Could I have a motion under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 to request the posting of $3,500 surety for the project at 38 Freeport Drive for DEP file number 122-712?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? This is exactly what we do for single-family homes, usually,
Yes.
3,500.
Yes, that's going to become our standard, unless there's something a little trickier.
Okay. All right, if no further comment, Ed, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I vote yes by a vote of 600. The request of the applicant to post $3,500 performance surety is approved. You are all set.
Thank you very much. Look forward to coming back here and
All
seeing
right.
what we do with that tree.
All right,
Yes.
good luck with your project.
Thank you.
All right, next, we have a continued public hearing, 39 Hilltop Drive. It's Ismail Yusuf and Anab Igal, and it's the addition to a single-family house. It's the DEP file number 122-711. Well, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Maureen Harold at Norse Environmental.
I'm Ismail Yusuf, 39.
Good to see you again.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay, so we were in front of you folks before the holidays, and the commission had requested that we add a detail to the plan, specifically relative to the compensatory storage that we're proposing in the backyard.
Yes.
We updated the plan, added the detail. We're proposing native shrubs along the perimeter of the compensatory storage, as well as a New England wildflower seed mix in the bottom of it.
Okay, good. Thank you for that summary. All right, Lucy or Eileen, do you have further comments on it beyond what these folks gave?
Well, I do. So this was this one was a little bit trickier than some of the other projects, because it is an addition and it's relatively small, but in this case, it ended up being in bordering land subject to flooding according to the FEMA preliminary floodplain maps. Ordinarily, when when something is designed in floodplain, DEP and we like to have it with flow-through and compensatory storage. That's what we've required in the past. However, they were not able to do that here, and it would be very difficult for them to redesign the project to achieve any sort of flow-through. And under the circumstances, I think that is appropriate. DEP did suggest that they attempt to elevate the, am I let me know if I'm not being clear about this. DEP suggested, and I suggested, that they see if they could elevate the addition above the floodplain. They had already, gone a long way in their design. They want to do a garage and I think basement in this case.
It's a single-story garage and an addition above.
So we have required people to elevate to make their garages with an addition flow through before. But as I said, so in this case, it is in BLSF. It's only under the preliminary floodplain map, so they really weren't expecting it. They already were a certain way with their design, I suspect, by the time they got this news. And in this case, it's also not in riverfront area, which I feel would make a difference because that would be a resource area, another resource area. So I think under the circumstances, since DEP is not insisting on them elevating it, then I'm okay with us also going with the design as is, compensatory flood storage. It's a nice little flood storage area. I like the way that they have they've both highlighted it and protected it with the shrubs, and they're seeding it with some wetland seed mix at the bottom. So it'll be a nice little feature, and I'm satisfied with that approach, even though it doesn't meet all the performance standards.
Before we go around, you said, Eileen, that DEP, what was their language that gives you the indication that they're not insisting, that they're not going to
I have it here, actually.
get our application, and then next thing you know, they
And
intervene?
I did also check with DEP, just to make sure I wasn't misinterpreting anything. So it said the proponent should consider elevating the addition if possible to avoid filling the floodplain. So they didn't say, must do it, you must. So I did check in with them, and there seems to be a little bit of leeway, and as I explained, under the circumstances, I'm willing to go with that. Normally, we try to be consistent, but I think this was a bit more of a gray area here.
So you're comfortable with not redesigning the whole project and putting it up in the air for flow-through?
Right, so Mr. Chairman, I think the biggest issue is the house was built in 1960, and it's your classic split type home. So the basement, it has a functioning bathroom, it has a furnished family room, it has the mechanical room in the basement. So if we were to elevate this one-story garage, and it was to flood, and let's say the preliminary maps are correct, essentially the whole basement would be flooded. And that's really the main concern, and then you get into potential mold issues, and not to mention all the critters that would have free range in the house.
So should we write, I don't know what's in the decision until we review it, but should we write something? What you just said was very pertinent. I'm wondering if we should, in the findings, have something to make sure that's articulated so that it doesn't come back at you.
Okay, sure.
All right, well, I just wanted to clear that up before we moved on. All right, are you done, Eileen?
I am, well, yeah, I was just looking at the findings to see whether it fitted what you're saying. But we can work with that if you're happy to go forward.
Oh, sure. All right, so I guess we go around the room and see if there's anything further. Ed, anything further?
No issues.
Sarah?
No.
Rob?
No, I mean, what is it, the base flood elevation, that's 126.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like one side of the house is a little above and the other's just like a little below, so it seems like just a matter of like a couple inches, to, so I think no issues.
Kent? Sadie, anything on this one? Bill?
I have nothing.
All right. I guess I'm into driveways tonight, because I've made a few comments.
Okay.
I see the stone trench, and I see the 140
Is there a
topography line.
The driveway is existing already, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So are they reconstructing the driveway? And
No.
how does the driveway get from the one contour going across the driveway so that the majority of it ends up in the trench?
So we don't have a trench shown on the plan, Mr. Chairman. The driveway is outside the buffer zone. It is within the floodplain outside the buffer zone. We are proposing to extend it just a bit to...
Oh, I was looking at the wrong plan, that's why I saw it.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, my God, how did I do that?
Just to, I mean, Maureen's doing a great job. I'm just trying to make it easier in that this is just an addition and they're not actually redoing the driveway. They're just
Okay,
extending it a
got
little
it,
bit.
got
So
it.
it would be tricky.
I'm on the same page now.
Unless it works out. Do the elevations work out that that it tips a little?
Yeah. Yeah,
it's fairly flat out front.
25.
right,
It's a fairly flat lot.
all right, so.
It is
that's the
tipping a
way-
little bit back towards the chambers, sort
Right.
of. Like it's 126 at the front, and then it's 125.5 at the,
Right, right.
like front left corner of the addition. So
Yes.
there is a tilt towards there, it would appear.
Okay, I get it, it's all set. Okay.
Okay,
Where are we? Is there anyone in the audience for this? It's a hearing, public hearing. I am supposed to ask, I guess. Anyone online? I don't think so. Anyone? No. All right. Okay, do you have any further input at this point? All right. All right, so we'll review the documents. We have a set of findings. We have a set of permit conditions, and then we'll go from there.
I will just say, Maureen has been very responsive about my questions about the floodplain. They definitely looked into it. Okay, so a notice of intent, bylaw application was filed for construction of a 12 by 25 and 3-inch garage addition and 12 by 12 deck within bordering land subject to flooding and buffer to bordering vegetated wetland. The total estimated fill of 265 cubic feet, which would be 258 cubic, oh, sorry, I think that, oh, no, got it, I understand what I did now. I just broke it down. For the addition and 7 cubic feet for the deck footings would be balanced with a compensatory storage area of the same volume and within the same reach of the associated waterway, which is Sandy Brook, and having an unrestricted hydraulic connection to the waterway. That's one of the performance standards met. The compensatory storage area would be surrounded by shrubs. No trees would be removed for this project. The Commission is finding that the footprint of the addition would have de minimis effect on flows, not enough to cause an increase in flood stage or flood velocity. So that would be the second performance standard that they may not be fully meeting, but I think it's a de minimis effect on it. The work was located within BLSF and with a 100-foot buffer to bordering vegetated wetland. Just skipping down, they are actually capturing the runoff, the rooftop runoff from the addition with 3 storm tech chambers. And we are proposing they're going to also put erosion controls in place, and we're proposing, in this case, a bond of $2,000. We're open to discussion on that, but even though it's a technical project, it is only an addition. We can discuss that in a few minutes. Then turning over to the order of conditions. Again, we're referencing the plot plan, the notice of intent, plus the narrative update, which Maureen provided, cut and fill calculation table, and cover letters addressing comments provided by DEP. As I said, Maureen was very good about responding immediately. Most of the first few conditions are standard. Maureen has certainly dealt with them many times. It mentions the food plain, but I actually meant the flood plain. The order permits work within the floodplain and buffer to BVW. No work within any other resources being permitted by this decision. Members of the commission and their representatives may have the right to inspect on the premises. If you go down to pre-construction conditions, this is describing, like we did with the last project, how we will meet with you on site to ensure that the DEP sign is in place, that you have recorded the order of conditions, the bond is being paid, erosion controls are in place, and at that point, if everybody understands the order of conditions, we will approve the project to go ahead. Erosion control will be as described on the approved site plan. Materials shall not be stockpiled on the site within the BLSF or within 50 feet of the wetlands or stream, but we can work with you on where is the best location for any stockpiling. Any fill material shall be kept encircled with hay bales and covered. No dewatering permitted on this site unless we approve a dewatering plan, which will be just with hay bales or something like that. It's a relatively simple matter. At the end of each work, they basically keep the roadway clean on exiting the site, and the Commission reserves the right to require additional erosion controls. For work involving filling and grading, we're saying no additional grading beyond what's shown in the plans will be allowed without coming back to the Commission. The pollution control conditions are all standard. It's basically saying, make sure nothing gets into the wetlands or the streams, and if they do, clear it out straight away. Floodplain conditions and stormwater management. We said rooftop and driveway runoff shall be managed as shown on plans. However, I think we've just established that the driveway is going to be basically remain as is. So runoff from the rooftop shall be managed as shown on the approved plans using 3 StormTech chambers, and the maintenance of the chambers is the responsibility of the owner and future property owners, and that will be noted in the certificate of compliance as existing in perpetuity. No filling or grading of change other than the change of grade other than the approved compensatory storage area, and that condition should also remain in perpetuity and be noted in the certificate of compliance. No removal of trees is permitted by this decision, and 10 to 15 shrubs shall be planted around the compensatory storage area to highlight and protect this feature. The basins shall be seeded with a wildflower seed mix, and those shrubs shall be monitored for 2 full growing seasons, and any that fail to survive shall be replaced. And we won't sign off on your occupancy permit until the basin and shrubs are established. And then the rest is just about how you go about getting your certificate of compliance to take the whole thing off your deed at the end.
All right, so do you folks have any questions or comments on what you heard?
No, I think they're pretty standard.
Most of them.
We tend to use the same conditions. Okay, let's go to Bill. You have any questions on the conditions?
No, none.
All right. Sadie, anything? Kent? Rob? Sarah? Ed? I have nothing. So if that's the...
Were you all okay with $2,000 as the bond too? Before we just do all the voting? Or do you want to discuss it?
I thought it was reasonable. It's not a full house.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. All right. All right, so let's go through this. Could I have a motion to close the hearing for DEP file number 122-711 for 39 Hilltop Drive? Second? All right, Ed, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I vote yes, 6-0. The hearing is now closed. Could I have a motion to adopt the findings as discussed for 39 Hilltop Drive, DEP file number 122-711 under Burlington's bylaw, Article 14? Motion?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
Ed? Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I vote yes, 6-0. Findings are now adopted. Could I have a motion to adopt the order of conditions, DEP file number 122-711 for 39 Hilltop Drive? This is under both Burlington bylaw Article 14 and the State Wetlands Protection Act. Second?
Second.
Ed? Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 6-0. Could I have a motion to require the posting of $2,000 performance surety for 39 Hilltop Drive, DEP file number 122-711, under Burlington bylaw Article 14?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Ed? Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes. Yes.
And I vote yes by 6-0. The performance requirement to post $2,000 is approved. So, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, good job, folks.
Have a good night.
All right, next on the agenda, skip down to planning board comments. Is there anything we need to be telling the planning board?
We will tell, they're aware of this, but we will inform them that we have approved the determination, negative determination for the police station swing site, because that is on their, that's coming up in front of them as well. Is there another one?
We're
I think
also going
that's
to
it.
tell them about 240 Middlesex, but that's a longer.
Oh, that's true,
Yep.
yes. We're also going to update them about 240 Middlesex, because it became a bit complicated. The COC was tied into their, the approval for a planning board permit, basically.
I see.
They had to get one before they could
Got
get
it.
the other.
All right, so we have subcommittee and staff reports. Do we have anything in that regard? Bill?
No, nothing.
Okay, anyone else? Eileen, Lucy?
No, well, just that we're hoping to have another stormwater subcommittee meeting towards the end of the month.
Right. All right, other business?
I do, if we have a moment. We got another notification a few days ago that about that proposal at 5 Creston Avenue. Remember, they had
Yes.
proposed to build a larger house at 5 Creston Avenue, which would bring the house to within 5 feet of conservation area. It got withdrawn from the Board of Appeals. I think there was just a timing factor, the timing lapsed or something. They have changed their architect, as far as I can tell, and it's going back in front of the Board of Appeals with the exact same design, proposing that it would be 5 feet away from the lot line. So my attitude about that hasn't changed. My suggestion would be that we would write a letter again. It's a whole new hearing, so I think sending the same letter again would more or less would be appropriate. And at the time, our letter just said that we were concerned a construction project so close could damage tree roots. Construction
And-
would put a new house close 14 feet closer to the natural and protected conservation area, et cetera, et cetera. I just wanted.
And there are,
to describe-
and in fact, there are practicable alternatives to being that close. They don't have to be that close.
They don't have to be that close.
I mean, I would use some of that riverfront alternative language. There is a practical alternative.
They have improved hardship.
Exactly, thank you very much, that's what I was going to say. I know that the Board of Appeals had asked them repeatedly to demonstrate the hardship that is required
Which is required, right?
in order for them to actually approve something like that, and they didn't. And they're now coming back with basically the same design again. So the Board of Appeals is going to ask the same question again. I don't know if they have something more substantial yet. I haven't seen any, what evidence they might have of hardship. I don't know if there is any. But
Well, it's not in writing.
Not that I've seen. So I'm asking, what does the commission feel about that? Are you open to us still maintaining some issue with that?
Should we have a motion to ask you to write a letter?
Sure, that would be appropriate. Yes, please.
Okay, could I have a motion asking our staff, Eileen and Lucy, to write a letter in regards to the the renewed proposal for 5 Creston
5 Creston Ave.
5 Creston Ave, regarding our objection to the project being located 5 feet from the lot line as it was before.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
How do you vote? Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 600.
Okay, we'll just tweak what we had before, and we'll send it back around again, okay?
Sounds good to me. Other business, let's see, anything else? All right, I was contacted, Bill and I were contacted by school committee person Jeremy Brooks. Apparently, he and Megan Nowachuk, who is a school committee person as well, are on the Marshall Simons Brushfield renovation project on behalf of the school committee, and they would like to start a dialogue with us regarding understanding the wetlands constraints, what they're proposing from a quick look at the plan is they would like to take the back field and spin it counterclockwise 90 degrees and squeeze in another field in the same orientation. And then along the long side of the field, I think it's a soccer field or something, I'm not sure what it is, but they want to put a viewing stand right in the middle. Unfortunately, the viewing stand would be, I think, right over the wetlands. Is that correct?
I think it's really the top of the two fields. That was my interpretation. The top
Yeah.
of the two fields was going to be in the wetland.
So they're going to, what it amounts to is that they're going to end up proposing to fill a wetland and asking the commission, I'm not sure they understand all this yet, but to approve a compensatory storage area or wetlands area in exchange. So they'd like to start a dialogue. If any commissioners would like to participate in that, you're certainly welcome. So just call the office and let them know your time constraints or when you might be available if you're interested in meeting about the brush field renovation project. Okay?
Just so you know, I've removed myself from that committee.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anything else on other business?
I don't have anything.
No.
All right, then, the next meeting is January 23rd. We have, it's your birthday? Oh, congratulations. I think we may have 5 commissioners who haven't indicated they can attend, so if you can't make it, let us know. Because I think Indra may not be back,
Right,
and I won't be in.
and you won't be there.
All right, then the next meeting after that is February 13th, the second Thursday in February. Anything further?
No.
Could I have a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Conservation Commission?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
How do you vote? Sarah?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes, too. All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
Have a good night.